And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the third episode of the What's Up Doc podcast, a monthly podcast based on mainly all things Final Fantasy XIV, but sometimes we branch out to other things. So, this month is the month of March, as we all know. We are going into Fanfest this weekend. This is the Japanese, and this will be the last Fanfest we have, actually for a long time, probably about a year, since Shadowbringers is out in exactly about 3 months for early access, 4 months if you're not attending early access. But we're going to have a brief episode today and cover as much as we possibly can and answer a question or two from you in the FC. But another good thing is we have Alice back this month. Welcome back, Alice. It's no Vea this month. Thank you again, Vea, for coming on. But we have my co-host with me today. So, we're going to jump right into it. Fanfest is this weekend. Let's start off plain and simple. So, we were right with Gunbreaker last time. Gunbreaker was a tank, was confirmed, so now we'll touch on your thoughts, because you have an opinion as to what's going to be shown off at the weekend, but healer, in my opinion, is definitely what we're seeing, and I think it's Dancer, but tell us what you think. You have a different opinion.
Well, no, not quite different. So, Dancer, okay, yeah, healer all the way, that's fine. It seems to be like the only logical choice that it could be. But I was reading up on some things that people were discussing, and it made sense to me since I, of course, leveled all the healers. Okay. Healer main. Mm-hmm. And people were discussing Geomancer, and I was like, man, that would be sick. But I don't see them releasing 2 healers at the same time.
No way.
Yeah, no, that would be ridiculous.
Because it would be awkward as well, because you would have 4 tanks and then 5 healers, and then tank players would be like, the fuck? Where's our second tank?
I feel like I'm okay with that. But, personal opinion aside on that one, so the way people were describing Geomancer was that it would be almost a purely support, not exactly purely support, but majority support type DPS, so heavy on support. So Bard take a back seat. It would be, you get all your buffs from Geomancer. It would be RNG based, somewhat like an Astro.
That's the problem with Geomancer, is that, and I've spoke to a lot of people about it, is that they say that Geomancer has too many. It is literally too close to Astro. It would basically more or less be the same class if it was to be put in. It could be put in as a, I don't know, maybe a limited job, like Blue Mage, but that's one of the issues that I have heard that people have with Geomancer, is that it's so similar to Astrology.
And I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like my Astro.
To be fair,
of course, Scholar more, but
if you are right and there is 2 jobs that are going to be shown off, if Geomancer was the healer and Dancer was a DPS, I'd be like, bye-bye, Bard. See you later,
well,
Bard.
I don't think that would be the way it would play out. I'm pretty sure that Dancer would end up being the healer. And then Geomancer would end up being like a side DPS for like a complement to Astro on a DPS range. Even though Astro does plenty of DPS on its own, I mean, I've looked at the parses. Astro can do great if it wanted to.
Second highest damaging healer.
Yeah, like how? Do what?
Yeah, Scholar's on top of it.
It's like my highest DPSing healer somehow. I don't understand. Even though I'm a Scholar main, somebody please make sense.
So maybe Astro might be easier, because I honestly think Scholar's a little bit more difficult to play, but I don't know. But well, hopefully we are going to have some sort of clarification as to what we're going to get, because the community has been very back and forward as like, oh, it's Dancer, oh, it's Geomancer, and some people have mentioned a few other classes that I can't figure off the top of my head.
Beastmaster, which I didn't see any inkling of in any of the...
They said, actually, with Blue Mage being implemented in 4.4, 4.5, whenever it was, I think it was 4.5, they said that Blue Mage being in the game actually makes Beastmaster possible. So
I guess so.
Maybe see Beastmaster might be a while, but then again they need to hold off adding some jobs, because they need to be like, they need to make the other expansions be, raising the balance, like, oh, Beastmaster's in this one. You like Beastmaster? Come spend $45.
$45? Which edition are you getting? Anyways.
Normal edition. I'm getting collector's edition, but some people out there probably aren't too interested in collector's editions, but I'm gonna get them because I have all the previous ones, so I may as well get the new one.
Gotta have your swag. You got it.
Touching off a 5.0 real quick, we're gonna reverse back a bit. Next, I want to discuss very briefly about next Tuesday, because next Tuesday will be 4.56, which will add a few new 8-cut pieces of content. We'll have the Beast Tribe final quest, the Mandeville quest ending, which will probably have that Yojimbo trial that everyone's been talking about, I think. And it will also have the MSQ. Now, I'm not very big on the MSQ. I enjoy it, but my lore and knowledge is very lacking because, sorry everyone, when Shadowbringers comes out, I will be skipping every cutscene and blasting everything, and then I will sit down and watch it all at once because I want to get past everything and I don't want to be stuck behind Raban Savage 2.0.
Will you though?
I will skip every cutscene. I promise you.
But will you watch it all? Everybody I know of that says they're going to skip everything and then watch it later. We have a few instances in the FC of people that have said that. They never end up watching it later. And then they ask me, Alice, what was that even about? And I was like, really?
I did it for Stormblood.
We'll see.
I did it for Heavensward.
We'll see.
I'm the guy that just wants to go in and fight the thing, you know? I don't. I'll watch all the shiz later. And then it's when somebody dies, I'm like, oh fuck, right? Oh, oops, I shouldn't have skipped that, but oh well, you know.
And then you're like, oh hey, that was a really emotional scene. I should have probably figured out what was going on there.
But any predictions as to what you think we'll get from the Allied Beast Tribe quest? Because we got an emote from Heavensward, we got an eye mask from Our Realm Reborn. Anything you can possibly guess that we might get?
I want another dance. I love my dance.
Oh, the Moonlift one.
I love my dances. I want another one. Give me more.
More emotes, more reasons to finish all the Beast Tribes, which, to anyone who is still working on the Beast Tribes, you still have, you have unlimited time to get it done, but the quest is coming out on Tuesday, so look forward to that. But back onto FanFest. My major hope is I've got bad anxiety about this whole thing. I want, and I'm desperate to know, the battle system changes, because this whole TP being removed thing, it does not sit well with me. I'm sitting here like, oh god, what's happening? I'm just sitting here like, what is going on?
Especially I feel that immensely.
I mean, you don't need to worry about it. You're a scholar.
That's what I mean, but I've been doing a lot of monk lately, and not gonna lie, I am enjoying my rage that I get from it, even though it's unreasonable amounts, because I get mad at every single tank I have somehow.
Well, for not hitting positionals, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big part of it. So I just get really mad at tanks, and then I'm just like, haha, but look, I'm flipping around doing kicky things and punchy things and...
I mean,
epitomizing punch cat.
I just want Monk to get Grease Lightning 4, so they're like basically Star Platinum, but
Perfect. A JoJo reference.
Of course you have to have a JoJo reference and everything.
Right.
Always gotta have JoJo reference. I'm praying that... Well, obviously, the actual, we'll see what all new skills and abilities each job is going to get in May, I think is when they're going to do it. I'm very, very nervous about battle system changes because I don't like change. I'm weird. I don't like that change. Why can't they just kept it the way it is?
Well, especially on Bard, you use both gauges. You use MP and you use TP.
I only use MP for Foes Requiem, and that uses up the whole gauge in like the first 10 seconds. Usually... I try to use Foes Requiem as much as I can, but I think Foes Requiem is just going to be a completely different ability. Even if I don't even know if I'm going to have it come 5.0, it could be taken out of the game. They'd be like, right, time's up, time for you to go.
It's not going to be based off of a gauge anymore. It's just going to be based off of a time limit, and then they're going to be like, haha.
Which I guess would be okay, because it doesn't last that long. I would rather it lasted a very bit longer.
That would be kind of...
Just remove piercing, please, and give Samurai utility, thanks. And then I'll be very... Yeah, come on. Give Samurai utility. Do it.
No, Samurai can hang out with Black Mage. They can just sit over there beating their greedy little deeps.
No, I refuse.
Why?
Stop the whole meta crap and let every class have an ability to join without them all being neglected because they simply don't provide utility.
I'm sorry. Everywhere I've seen a Black Mage join has done great.
Yeah, they do great, but a lot of raiders don't like them. Moving on.
This is why I don't meta.
Yeah, don't meta, never meta. So we'll obviously get our usual pep talk from Yoshi P. Yoshi P will go for everything. He will probably reveal the second MSQ Primal because they showed off Titania, was it? Yeah, Titania off the last time. So we'll get the other tribes Primal. But what I want to talk about now, very quickly. So in Stormblood we got a very, I want to say, fan service raid tier, because you had a Final Fantasy V raid tier, you had a Final Fantasy VI raid tier, you had sort of a mixed batch in Alphascape. You had the final boss of Final Fantasy 1, and then you had Omega. I don't know what they're going to do in Shadowbringers. I hope that they would go along with Fanfest, or the Fanfest fan service-y kind of route again. Maybe give us a Final Fantasy 7, 8 and 9 raid tier, maybe. It all depends, obviously, with the raid tier story that goes on. But is there anything in particular you would like, considering obviously Nier is going to be the 24-man? Is there anything maybe you would like?
I think that's mostly the only thing I'm really kind of hyped for, because I didn't really even play Nier. I just watched Kaiser play it, which was fun enough for me because I was there from beginning to end, watching the whole thing.
Tough game.
Yeah, to say the least. And it was fun enough to just watch, not gonna lie, because it's so cinematic and so beautiful, and just, it's intense. It's like eye candy. So if they can make that into the 24-man, I honestly don't care what they do with the 8-man. Just, it could just be stick figures I'm fighting there. I'll be okay.
Look, what I just want my Final Fantasy XIV version of One Winged Angel. That's all I want.
That'd be kind of sickening.
I just want to fight Safer Sephiroth in V4, 8, or 12, whatever it has to be. I just want to do it. Alright?
I mean, with all the throwbacks and the collabs that they're doing with other things, like the Final Fantasy 15 collaboration event that they're doing.
Let that game die, please.
And then the Nier collaboration they're doing with the 24-man raid tier. I don't think it would be at all out of their skill set to throw any other more popularized Final Fantasy games into the mix and say, you know what? We went through the kind of older ones. We're working our way up to more current as far as the 8-man tier is concerned.
Yeah. Because I was thinking they were going to do Final Fantasy VII to help promote the eventual remake for the PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be great.
They were going to help promote that maybe with the raid tier. Because I have a really stupid theory, because for FanFest in US you got the Aerith minion, right?
Yes.
No, not Aerith, sorry, you got
No,
Tifa.
we got Tifa.
France got, EU got the Cloud one, and JP is getting Aerith.
Yeah, but if you think about it, last FanFest, we got Yuna and Rico, and we also got...
Was it Pain?
Oh, Pain. Sorry. We got Yuna, Rico, and Pain last time. So I'm wondering if they're just going through all of the...
It's
like
possible.
Iconic characters as far as
I was just hoping that it was maybe a sign. It's like, oh look, there's no wind-up Sephiroth here. Maybe the wind-up Sephiroth might be in the, raid tier fight. Because Sephiroth is my favorite Final Fantasy villain. So I think
I
even
thought it was Kefka.
Well, Kefka. Now here's the thing, very subject to debate. I've just been listening to One Winged Angel recently, and I'm like, I'm liking this more nowadays. Because I feel like I love Kefka. He's just one of my top. He's in my top 3. But I feel like just because I've listened to God Kefka's theme so much in 14, I'm like, I'm getting sick of this.
Oh, I need to amend what I said. We didn't get Pain. We got Lulu.
That was Lulu.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not Pain. Lulu.
Not Pain, because that would have been very. Final
X2
Fantasy
never happened.
10.
X2 never happened.
X2. Yeah.
Never happened. Don't know what you're talking about. Never happened.
They had to have 10 before they had 10 too. So.
Bring Blitzball, please.
Yeah. I keep hearing a lot of people wanting Blitzball, but I just don't see how that would work very well.
I think if they even show like a small little trailer for the new raid tier at FanFest, if I see the slightest blue feather hit the ground, I'm just gonna freak out. I think I might break something.
Please don't.
At
least don't break your mic.
I almost broke my mic when Kefka was revealed because I sort of panicked.
I remember that, actually. We were talking about that.
Yeah. Well, that mic is gone now. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Mike.
R.I.P. Mike. I feel bad because I actually like that mic. Too bad. Just blame the clown.
I mean,
aka
the
me.
clone did everything. Well, yeah. No, what is it that Annie called you earlier? The fool.
The fool. Well, that works.
That fool.
The fool. The fool broke his neck over a clown in some game.
Yeah.
So here's another thing. This is going to be now. I hope everyone listening has got their underground bunker built for this, because we only got female Vieira shown off, and this is to answer Nearset's question in the FC Discord, which we appreciate. Thank you. Everyone else, please get more questions involved for future episodes.
Probably read the question out verbatim. Here's it says, even though we're pretty sure we're getting male Vieira, how much outreach do you speculate would come from the community if they made Vieira a first gender-locked race?
Well, there's a couple of things we can touch on in regards to that. We'll start off with the actual questions. So, how much outrage I expect? I expect the heat to be nuclear.
Tables flipping, cars catching on fire.
Tables flipping, cars catching on fire. I expect
banks being robbed.
I expect a absolute humongous amount of outrage if male Vieira is not a thing, because I don't see a reason for there not to be, when in the lore and there is artwork and the previous concept art, which you can actually check out if you go onto the Final Fantasy wiki, because Vieira was supposed to be was originally planned for Heaven's Ward, but was scrapped in favor of the Aura, which wasn't a bad idea at all. You can literally see they have concepts drawn of male Vieira, and they look fine. They look like they could work. So I don't see a reason as to any. I guess just genuinely don't see a reason as to why they wouldn't put it in the game.
A concept's a concept until it becomes reality.
Of course.
So there's the other side of the spectrum that people have been talking about.
The Hrothgar.
Yeah. And there are some French players that have leaked some information where they show screenshots where they're talking about Hrothgar and Vieira. And they even indicate the female identifier when speaking about Vieira and the male identifier when they're talking about Hrothgar.
Yes.
Of their language. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to call it, but I call it an identifier. I'm not a linguist.
You know, it's interesting to me because when I first seen that image, that image of the translation, I was like, what in the hell is a Hrothgar? So I looked. I actually typed into the internet, and like a bunch of dwarves came up, and I was like, oh boy, imagine if they put in a dwarves into the game. I would be very shocked.
What is a Hrothgar? And then all of a sudden you just get videos of Skyrim pulling up.
Yes. God, no. Bad game. No, it's not really, but...
Shush your face.
Needs to die. I have over like 1,000 hours in that game. The fucking game sucked my life away.
I have every version of it now.
Every version, including the very special one, which I can play in my fridge.
Right.
I'm hoping that Hrothgar isn't a male. This is only a male-only race. I'm hoping that's not what it is. I really hope that we are getting the male Vieira, because it just doesn't make sense to me to have a female-only race and a male-only race. It just doesn't seem right. It just seems it could be very unfair, because then you get people, one side will be complaining like, why are we getting female Hrothgar, and then one side saying why are we getting male Vieira. It'll just go both ways.
Well, to alleviate some of that concern, some fantastic individual who does a lot more with electronics than I do went further into their French edition of the game, or the French version of the game, and found both male and female identifiers for Vieira and Hrothgar.
Interesting.
In the code. So it could have just been the instance that this person took the screenshot where they had the male identifier of Hrothgar and they had the female identifier of Vieira just in that particular instance. It could not be a solid confirmation that that's the only thing.
I mean, if they're going to give us two races, fair enough. I feel bad for the person who needs to write all that fucking lore about them, but fair enough.
I have confidence in him because I bought both of his books.
Two races, well, that's right, you did. Two races would be actually a very nice touch, because then, as Yoshi P said, he did say he thought that Vieira would probably be the last one we would ever get in 14, which I can't blame. Adding a new race is very, very, very difficult.
It would justify them not giving us one in Stormblood.
It would justify them. I don't know if the Vieira were considered for Stormblood at one point.
Probably not.
But I think they just wanted to get Red Mage and Samurai out of the way before anything.
Yeah.
And then they could have said like, right, let's just focus on getting this race out now. I mean, I'm gonna Fantasia to female VR. I'm gonna play as them. They look like they're gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm sure the Fantasia bottle sales will be through the fucking roof.
No doubt.
They probably already are. People are probably already prepped and ready. But as for the heat, I will say just expect a mountain full of in-game salt and just salt everywhere if male VR is not a thing, because a lot of people really want male VR to be a thing, and I'm one of them. I'll be disappointed, but I won't go on a crazy rant and say, Square Enix, you're all a disgrace, Yoshi P, screw you, you've ruined my trust in the game. But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it would be very dangerous to be around some people who like male VR, because if they don't get it, they're gonna be very lethal. Don't piss them off. Stay away from them.
It'll be the quarantine zones. We'll just have to put them on their own server until they calm down.
And also stay away from Limsa when VR comes out. Just saying.
Please.
You'll thank me later.
Limsa will be a quarantine zone the moment VR comes out.
You'll thank me later. When Slim VR comes out, you'll thank me later if you stay away from that city. One other thing that we will probably see a little bit more about, and this is for any of you crafters and gavers. I think it's only crafters, but I don't know if gavers are involved in it. The rehabilitation of the Holy See of Ishgard, I think somebody did leak that they're going to talk more about it this weekend, which is exciting because I actually have thought about moving into Ishgard when it does come out of Shirogane, even though I like my little home.
The only reason I'm in the mist is because there wasn't an Ishgard housing.
Yeah, I've met so many people who have wanted this for a long time, because as we know, the Goblet is the worst. I have a buddy of mine he has a house in the Goblet, and he likes having a house, but he just hates the fact he has the Goblet. But he was going to move to Gridania one day, and then Fanfest showed off that Ishgard is going to have a housing board, and he's like, I'm just going to save my guild here.
Right.
I'm just going to wait. How do you think it's going to plan out? Because are we going to have to craft like the entire thing? Because if it's an end-game crafting, is it going to be like Dome and Enclave, or is it going to be like...
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the Dome and Enclave was kind of a testing ground to see what they can get away with or what they can do when it comes to these, you need to do this and this many things to get this and this, to get this far, before this part of the city rebuilds kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they took the data they gathered there, and they're like, okay, well, we can use that to do what we want over here. Now, we could be completely wrong, and there is no Ishgard housing involved, but you get a prettier Ishgard out of dealing with it anyways. Which would be nice, because we're tired of walking past all those people breaking their backs, lifting rocks and stuff forever.
All the homeless people as well. Ishgard's still... when you beat Heavens, it was like, Ishgard's better, thanks guys. Doesn't look any better.
Yeah, you still got that same guy over there lifting up that same chunk of wood over and over and over and over again while his buddy's sitting there wiping his brow.
4 years later, I finally got it lifted.
Finally!
Finally, I have moved it to 2 square centimeters.
That's what it feels like when you go there.
I honestly hope that it is, because I feel like crafters and gatherers do need more in-game content, because it's very lacking in some areas, like other than probably the Beast Tribes, and you had that little small segment for Culinarian in the, God forgive me, what is it called? Evilise, where you had to make the garlic bread or whatever it was, the pizza bread. For that person.
Little side quest inside of the airship. Yeah,
the little side quest, the gatherer, little crafter quests. They need more stuff like that in the game. So that's why I'm hoping the Holy See of Ishgard really is very heavy on the crafting and gathering side, because it'll be a lot of fun for those who mainly, like, crafting and gathering is their favourite thing to do in the game. It gives them a huge project to work on, and the sense of achievement I'm sure will be worth it if it is a huge Ishgardian housing ward. Especially if you love your crafting. I'm sure I know you'll be all over it. Craft. Psst, to everyone listening, if you need something crafted, there you go.
Hey, whoa. Whoa.
Sorry, is there something wrong?
Take it back a notch.
Take it back a notch. I heard the GR for hire.
What? Maybe. Well, it depends on if you have materials, or if you're willing to come with me to gather the materials. I don't like working alone when it comes to that.
Always work together and get things done quick.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else you wanted to discuss, or I feel like we've I did say this would be a rather brief episode because we're going into this FanFest with very little knowledge. I'm sure if we had a little bit more time, we maybe would have got a few more keynotes, but anything you want to add on?
So the list of things we're looking at, new trailer, added more to it. We definitely want that.
Yep.
The discussion or reveal or at least more information about Dancer would be great.
Well, that would
because
probably be what the trailer would do for you, because they showed Gunbreaker off in the trailer, so I'm expecting something interesting in the Japanese trailer on Friday.
Well, you can hope, but at least do it separately if you're not going to put it in the trailer.
It also depends what Yoshi P comes out wearing.
Right. I don't know if he's going to come out with a tutu. Or dressed up like Katana.
No, he'll come out with black shoes, black trousers, a red top, and a rose in his mouth. That's what he'll come out with, like a dancer.
Can he not?
If he did that, I would just like, oh, that's just amazing.
I was 5 feet away from his Byakko kimono. Please don't ruin this by dressing up like, what was it? The Zorro Mask Returns or something like that. Return of the Mask.
That would be
what
amazing.
Was it?
Return of the Mask. Well, we're not getting Jim Carrey here, green mask on.
No, the one where he was older. Never mind. But anyways.
Yeah, well, I'm sure whatever we're going to get this weekend is going to be good. He's going to be on the stage for an hour and a half.
Jesus.
That's a long time. It lasts from 1:30 in the morning here till 3 a.m. Yay, it's a good thing I have Saturday off, innit?
Same. But I think they run through my Friday.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this final FanFest because honestly we're going to have a lot to hold on to. We have got the 15 event, as you mentioned, next month in April. But after that we don't have much left to do until Shadowbringers comes. We're getting into the dry period.
I need to make an honorable shout out to somebody asking a question in our FC, and he asks, how many guns can you hold before you get beeped by latency? The answer will surprise you.
The answer will surprise indeed, yes.
There were several answers given as they determined this question was a joke, but he provided the answer. The answer is 0. You always get beeped by latency.
Beeped, and if you're wondering what those beeps are, feel free to read in the podcast discussion. Thanks, Ryan. You're a gem. But, so folks, thank you for tuning in. I did say this would be a shorter episode. FanFest is this weekend, and honestly, just enjoy it. I'm sure people will be in the FC Discord if you want to mingle with a few people while watching it. Just jump right in there. I myself will not be. I will be doing my own thing. So next month's topic, we will probably take chunks of each FanFest that has happened. That's like all of them, and we will just talk about how all of these are going to fit in. And next month's episode, we're also going to have a guest. Now, as to who that guest is has not been decided, but if you would like to be a guest for next month, feel free to. The podcast discussion section of the Discord is yours. You put your questions, you put your feedback, and if you want to be a guest, you can either put it in there at me or Alice, or if you really don't feel like putting it in the podcast discussion, feel free to shoot me a private message. It's no issue at all. Just remember that I will have to have a discussion with you before that episode goes, just so you know. But thank you everyone for listening. Alice, good to have you back. It's very good. Missed you last month.
Well, it's good to be back.
It is good to have you back. And special thanks to Nearset and Ryan for asking those questions in the Discord. Looking forward to having all of you asking some questions for next month. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy FanFest this weekend, and we shall see you next month. Cheerio.
Hey there friends, Alice here. Thanks for listening to this month's edition of What's Up Doc. Remember to ask your questions in the FC Discord. We have a specific discussion thread just for you all. If you'd like to be a guest or have a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, pop that info in there too. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening.